Welcome to this week's Bhandwagon Podcast. Before you watch or listen to this week's episode, I need you to do me a favor. If you liked any of the content that I've produced over the years and you still don't follow or subscribe to the channel, please do so. Your help is immeasurable for me getting bigger guests and hopefully getting those great interviews ready for you. So please, thank you. Welcome to another episode of the Bhandwagon Podcast, and today my guest is a unique guest. It's one who I've hounded myself. He is a TikTok rising star. It's someone that, you know, when you come back and you're just scrolling through and the algorithm, his videos always come up and he cracks me up. So before he becomes bigger and better, I thought I'm going to grab him at this point before he gets too kind of popular to even reply to my messages. Welcome to Dilly. How are you, sir?
Welcome, my brother.
I haven't worked out this space, you know, like for me to kind of, you know, it's a couple ones in there, how I lean over, and I need to work on that
the
bit.
Distance is a bit too far.
Distance is a bit too far in it, you know. Thank you for coming onto the podcast. I know this is probably one of your first podcasts, and this is probably the quietest I've seen you at this point.
Yeah, I was just waiting. I was thinking, it's a bit of time, so I thought give it a bit of time. Let my introduction kick in, and then I'll take it from there. But yeah, it's an honor to be on your podcast, my bro.
Thank you, man. Your kind of rise at this stage, that I would say, I've seen it prominently in the last sort of 6 months, kind of just come out of nowhere. Is this something that you were doing beforehand and it's only just launched? Like, you've seen that spike in your interaction and your engagement earlier on, or has it always been like that and I've just cottoned on late?
No, I used to do Instagram, I think from 2013 to 2017, like roughly from year 8 to year 11. So I used to do Instagram and stuff, and then I quit.
Why did you quit?
I just had too much on my plate. I was working and stuff. I was working 2 jobs at the time. So I just left it, and I was working and I was just earning money and stuff. And then 2-3 years ago, I sort of started coming back, but I was doing Snapchat comedy. So what I would do make videos on Snapchat, so when people would relate to them, and then they would post me, and that's how I would get out there. So I was doing all right on Snapchat. And then when TikTok come along, I didn't do it for a good 5-6 years. I just thought, leave it out. I thought it's not my thing. Even when I was doing Snap, I could have uploaded them videos on TikTok, but I didn't do it. And then when I realized that everybody's on it, so the market's all on TikTok. So then I put my videos on TikTok, and from the first one, I started blowing up. I started doing TikTok really in September last year. So from September to now, so it's been about 7 months, 8 months.
And was that all fresh content or some of your old stuff that you reused?
The first 2 videos I uploaded were old ones, just to see if people want to see that sort of content. But when I realized that, it works on TikTok, the same like how it does on Snap, I realized that both of the platforms are quite similar, because it's like usually a minute story or 10-second story you're sharing with the person. So it's quite a similar platform, yeah.
And then as you're coming up with the ideas of where you're, some of the subject matter, like how did you kind of pick it up? Because sometimes when you see a trend on the algorithm, or you've seen a lot of people do it, they like remake some other person's content. What I found with yours is that it's that unique, and the style that you do. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit later, but how do you kind of keep yourself ahead of the curve?
To be honest with you, if I'm being honest with you, the thing is, like my comedy, it's good, but the reason why like I have older generation and the new generation liking me is because like most of the stuff I say is like from the older morals. So like I'll bring out older traditions, I'll bring out older stuff, like just stuff. And then what happens is when I implement it with the way I talk now, so imagine a roadman talking about what happened 50 years ago. It's just funny because you don't think about it. So the same way, like I'll give you an example. If I'm talking about, let's just say example, I'm talking about this glass. The funny thing is, like if there was a sophisticated person, he'd describe the glass, he'd describe the dimensions, and you think, oh, he's quite educated. Or I could say, oh, this glass, seen a couple of them in Lidl, could get it cheaper than this one. You know what I mean? You could make it funny. The problem is, I'll give you an example. One thing I learned growing up, there's two ways to get a point across, with aggression and with humor. With humor, the point is, even the person who you're getting the point across to, even dating, my man, he's got respect. He's got, he's funny, but we can't take him for an idiot because he does his thing himself, you know what I mean? So they look at you different. And one thing I realize, like even when I do social media, like I see other content creators, they do their thing like with comedy and stuff. But what people fail to understand, there's two types of comedy. One where people are laughing at you, one where people are laughing with you. When you understand what comedy, which angle you want to be at, to be honest with you, when I used to do Instagram, the comedy wasn't much like fitting in with everybody. So I'd make a video and it'd only be for like kids or like, my generation. Then I'd make a video and it's strictly older. Now I'm realizing I could implement old generation traditions into new generation language. Like if I say wagwan or if I make it funny. The point is I've got your attention with the wagwan and that. And then I'm just going to tell you what my dad's been telling me.
I'm trying to, just for people trying to work it out, I'm trying to like get in a little bit deeper because the science of social media is becoming more and more, no matter what kind of work that you're doing, the science of social media is becoming more and more prominent because the amount of money that can relate from it. So we know how much people from TikTok can make around it, but like for me, when I put up my stuff, I don't necessarily consciously create the sentences for those buzzwords where it looks like when you're putting something together, you're thinking about it on such a level just to get the first hooks in to kind of, with my first word, I'm going to try and get this audience. Second word, third word, or, the next sentence, I want to aim it for this audience. Is that the depths you go to? Because that's what I'm getting from you.
To be honest with you, yeah, in a sense, yes. Because if you look at when, like, for example, the way you're saying, yeah, the way I discovered, like, the science you're talking about is when, like, I uploaded a video, I'll give you an example. There was a video uploaded on my Snapchat. I was cooking a dish. Nobody focused on the food. I said something in the video and I realized, when you purposefully, like, blunder or you make a mistake, the viewer is just thinking, oh, has he really done that? For example, just before I was coming inside, somebody was shouting from the car, like a thing I said in a video, like 5-6 videos ago, but he must have found it funny, but it stuck with him. So every time they see me, they think about that. So what it is slowly, I'm coming up on the FYP and you constantly see me and I'm just saying new words. So what happens is after a bit, you slowly pick up on, if I do this like this, it might do better. You get me in that sense, yeah? But in sense of the content, you can never be too sure. For example, I could make a video today about the cost of living and it'll do well automatically because the algorithm right now, everybody's broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're going to look at the cost of living and stuff like that. But see, if you look at like the world from the longer perspective, are you going to do better or not? I don't think it'll work out the same, to be honest with you, because the algorithm only picks up certain videos. Certain videos get picked up. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's just say Travis Scott's trending today. Just example.
Just tell everyone who Travis Scott is, because I'm young and fashionable.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I just see him on the
Let's
news.
go to Kim Kardashian.
I just know Kim Kardashian for the scandal, to be honest. To be honest with you.
I think a lot of people out there know Kim Kardashian for the scandal.
Yeah, I don't think she's done anything else but the scandal.
Well, okay, let's just use Kim Kardashian here for a second, and we'll go back to the bit. Like, she got a career from being famous from social media, and quite visual social media.
Yeah.
And then has built a career from it where they actually, there's evidence that they, alleged evidence that they construct a lot of the arguments, and it's all scripted, the film show around it. Do you think the obsessive nature of people now is saying that look how much she's earned and what she can do, that, obviously we know a lot of things on social media are fake, but to take it onto that level where you got the whole family involved now is a bit...
To be honest with you, it comes down to morals. Like, I think certain people, when they see a certain amount of money, they lose morals. they don't have like no morals, like no respect and integrity. That's what it comes down to. And what I think upholds that is like, you know how firm of like you're holding on to your religion. Everybody's following their own thing. So I think personally, like, you know, when you lose like a touch of religion, it might be anything. You could be a Christian, you could be a Muslim, you could be a Sikh, a Hindu, anything, a Jew even. The problem is, where we have the problem is, you know, when you're not following like anything, you're not doing nothing. The problem is, like I'll give you an example, if you didn't have a religion right now, what would you be doing? Money, 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 money. The chase is always money. Certain people forget, yeah, I could take my clothes off and I'll get views. For example, like Kim Kardashian gets views, but then we have like, I don't know who to give you an example, like I could give you Kevin Hart, but even he sold out.
Oh, okay.
So we have, I don't know.
Well, someone who's like...
Cat Williams, Kim Kardashian and Cat Williams probably do similar amount of views. Cat Williams does his own thing and nobody takes him for an idiot. Whereas Kim Kardashian should be sitting at award shows and people in front of her kids be saying, oh, how much of a, you get me, wasted life your mom is. And it's not a good place to be. And it's not just Kim Kardashian, but most of the celebrities, they've lost touch, whether it's musicians, whether it's singers, whether it's comedians, whether it's... People lose touch on what the actual goal is. Like, if I'm trying to make you laugh, my goal is to make you laugh. I'm not going to affect myself, put myself in a position where tomorrow I can't look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because, you know, like, let's say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the majority of these platforms didn't exist. You only had one or two, right? I can look back at some of the statuses, especially if you look at early Twitter or you know, for a lot of people, it was chaos.
Yeah.
If you look at how people used to write things there, the updates, you know, Ricky Bandau is eating beans on toast today. You know, it used to be, Facebook used to be like that, your statuses. And you look at how now we've got a generation, or possibly even two now, who've had their whole life documented digitally. And they haven't necessarily been asked the permission because, you know, they've got their baby photos. Then they go this first day, they go to school. Every Christmas tree that they've ever made, you know, done is always on there annually. Parents in matching pajamas. You see all these patterns and they've got to the stage. How do you kind of... I'm conscious about it, about making things and content that doesn't look too bad in future-proof, so to speak. That you know that if somebody looks back on what you're saying now, like I just done a little bit around the Eurovision Song Contest, and I did an episode and I was talking about it, and my opinion of it was, I was sitting there with my kids, and I think some of the clothing that some people are wearing, I sounded like my grandma and my granddad. You know, oh, what you got on, this looks terrible, blah, blah, blah. But and you know, they had a genuine cause, but mine was like, this is at 8 o'clock, right? Kids are still awake. I don't mind you doing all of that stuff, whatever it is, you know, it's different course for different people, whatever. But just put it after the watershed, you know, with a little bit, because then it protects it, like there's some satanic stuff in there, you know, or people dressed up as the devil, you know, if you believe whatever. But I just thought some of it wasn't appropriate for that audience. Now, I went to another place, a lot of some youngsters and that were there, and we were just talking about it, and they were looking at me like I was alien. And then I tried to, from the initial first headline of what I said, they were like looking at me like, what are you on about? Like, I was so outdated in my point. But when I gave my opinion across, then they understood it. We don't live at this moment where people can actually explain their thoughts. They just look at the headline and that's it. Yeah. So when you're doing a lot of your content, for example, it's very short, 60 seconds. That's hard to live by the sword and die by the sword of it, because no one's going to grant you that opportunity to talk it out in a long format podcast style. Yeah. So how do you kind of make yourself conscious that what you're saying won't look bad in the future?
To be honest with you, when I started, you know, when you get like one comment, like after like a week or so, like you appreciate it more. Not to say that I don't appreciate it, but I get so much comments and it's usually the same thing. It's usually laughing emojis. Yeah. So I don't really like, and I get hate comments. I see them after sometimes when I'm clicking through my posts, but You know, for a hate comment to phase me, the what I think, not only is like TikTok helping me avalanche through my networking, that's one thing good. On top of that, I'm also making people smile. The way I think of, if I could benefit myself, but I could also make you smile at the same time, that's a win-win situation. Because for both of us, we're both happy. If you really think about it, if I could make somebody laugh and I get in return, I could get where I need to get to in life, for me that's a win-win. Because most people, if you look at social media, they make somebody sad to get to a better position in life. So for me, that's not the way. And one thing I realized, haters only hate you because they're miserable with their own life. If their life was going great, think about it now. If you had Aston Martin parked outside the house, you were enjoying life, would you really have time to hate on me?
Nah.
It doesn't.
Actually, I don't know. Some people are just naturally miserable. Some people are just natural. I'm telling more Victor Meldrew, like very much grumpy, But it's actually mad what you're saying, yeah, because you become a little bit slave to the algorithm. So when I look at my first bits in terms of what I was putting out, I said I'm never going to be like this and that, and then just naturally, the way how social media has worked and how it's kind of adapted itself, it makes you conform. It makes you like you're going to have to do this because the interaction and engagement where you've put something more clickbaity than, a lot more deeper thought goes a lot further than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
It goes ridiculous. Like I seen your Wales. You did a Wales. Top 10 places in the UK to visit, holiday destinations. And I think the top 3 was all in Wales, innit?
Yeah.
But you couldn't pronounce any of the names properly. But the comments in there was like, who's this guy, blah, blah, blah. And you look at the engagement for that, which is a subject matter which is fairly basic. But you look at the ratio of negative to positive on there, and that reels the mad numbers.
Because what happens is the algorithm, like I'll give you an example. In back the old day and age, you know what happened? I'll give you an example. Let's say Soulja Boy released a tune. All you'd have to say is Soulja Boy's new album's dead. Nobody would listen to it. One TV in the house, just a bag on YouTube. You're doing all the madness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've seen only you. I ain't heard you didn't have 50 people doing the same. It's just you. So now we're in a day and age where that's not the case. You might do something, but it's not 50 people, it's just you now. So now the problem is, we have that many people doing the same thing, you have different opinions. So like seeing back in the day, there used to be one label, now there's 50. There used to be one nice car, now there's 50. So like in the olden days, they used to get paid like £7-8. So I've heard of the old days. So if
how old's olden days now?
I don't know.
Because I need to just double check.
1980s.
I'm born in 1982. So that ain't that old, man. I look young though.
Yeah. Nah, you get me. It's all the key and that from back home. That's what it does the job.
I've only just started putting moisturiser back on now. I used to put on oil of Ulay. Now it's called oil of Olay. So I'm that old. So I've been trying to look after the skincare and stuff. And these things you have to take into consideration.
Yeah. I usually just wash my face with water, keep it moving.
That's it?
Yeah, I think it's just the age.
Listen, it's going to creep up on you one day. Trust me. One day when you think you're king of the castle, the next minute you're shifting the shit out of the castle. You know what I mean?
No, 150%. You know what it is? Even, see now that you mentioned that, it's the same thing with social media. One day you're the bird flying in the sky eating up the ants. One day the ants are going over your dead body and eating up you. So everything in life, I think it has a time. Like for example, you can never be relevant for your whole life. I think where people fail to understand, like even like a Kim Kardashian we were speaking about earlier. What you got to understand is there is a time. You know a Rolls Royce today, a 2024 plate. We're in 2024, so 2024 plate today, yeah, beautiful car, best of the range. You're a bad man if you're driving it. Now take that car 20 years down the line. I've got a BMW M3, 20 whatever it is, 56. And then your Rolls Royces and all that, now it's not even coming close to my M3. Do you understand the mentality?
So all relative, basically.
Yeah. So what happens is you have time, you have a specific amount of time. For example, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm doing my own thing in terms of like, now I'm doing comedy, but this comedy isn't going to work for the rest of my life. What I can do, I can avalanche into other things. So for example, I can do comedy now, I'm doing this podcast, I can also do interviews, I can do this. See, that's a mentality. But what most of these people do, they got famous of one thing and now nothing's working because they didn't have no education, they didn't get there through hard work. So like for example, somebody like our parents who work to get to the position, they understand the value of money. I can't buy this. See, when all these people turn rich, it's gold chains, gold watches, and it's all on. How can you buy a gold watch on finance, a Rolex on finance? It's not really. It doesn't. If you haven't got the equity to uphold that lifestyle, it doesn't match it. Like with these.
But isn't that the whole point of social media though? Because no one's going to put their bad bits on there. Well, you do get a few people who do it on there, but the strong majority are only putting on their best bits. So it's all. We know it's fake anyway, but we know that rappers rent houses, they're hiring jewelry. They're not necessarily having even their so-called friends are not necessarily their friends that are going. It's a fake lifestyle anyway.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, like I'll give for just a rapper's point of view, if you have money, for example, let's say a Rolex costs like 40,000, nice sky dweller that you're showing off.
See, you know a lot more about these details that I'm getting worried here. My self-insecurity is increasing quite bad. I thought it was pretty streetwise. I actually had an idea roughly, but you're coming out with model numbers and everything.
No, but for example,
killing me off.
Let's say it's 40,000. Wouldn't it rather look nicer? Let's say you had a nice 40 grand watch on. It's nice. But if you had like a £2 million net worth, then it looks even more nicer because you can maintain that watch. You're wearing that watch, but you're also living the life. Now, I also know people like where we're from in Birmingham, they sell a couple of boxes and they've got a couple of Rolexes, but they cannot maintain that lifestyle. I know people in prison with nothing to show and they've got a couple of Rolexes waiting outside for them. So the point...
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, when money's coming in too fast, watches are the best thing in gold.
Or to invest in, to hold your value.
To hold your money. Because, for
example... So we're talking about kind of like...
businessmen.
Door number come or, or like moving stuff.
Yeah. So the example is, let's say like they have a couple of watches. They're not going to hold... Like, in essence, if you had gold, like actual gold, like bullion in the weight, it would hold value. But the thing what we don't understand, we buy all these materialistic things, even a Rolex, like now, isn't going to be the same, unless you've bought a very, very nice one.
A vintage or rare, like limited edition one.
You think people in our area know about what watch to buy as an investment piece? If they were that smart, would they be living in our area?
But the first things first, to find out if it's real, if it's legit, if it's
and you know
a copy.
No, you know what? One thing I've realized, money, I don't know. I think money makes you unhappy, and I'll explain to you why. The more you have, the more you chill, yeah? The more you chill, the more unhappy you are. So it doesn't make sense. When you're broke, you're thinking, I'm going to get this money, I'm going to be on a yacht. Now you're leathered on the yacht. The Grey Goose is half empty. And you're still thinking, why am I happy? You know what it is? We all, like I'll give you an example. Let's say you had iPhone 15. I had the iPhone 14. I'd say, he's got a beautiful phone. I wish I had that. And now I've got the 15. 2 weeks later, I'm throwing it all across the floor. It's the same as my 14. So it's the mentality. We want something until we have it. When we have it, we don't value it. That's what it is.
In terms of your success, in terms of what you've been doing, have you seen within your networks your reactions of people around you and your mates, like having have they pulled you aside and said like it's changed you, or is it saying that you've been the same guy?
No, to be honest with you, I still chill with. I've only got a couple of friends, like a handful. I still roll around with them. I still like go out to eat with them. Or if I'm going out, it's only them couple of people I'd see. The problem is now what it is like when I do a podcast, now I've made a link with somebody. I like to hold that link, so I'll keep that link. We might go out for a drink or we might go out for you know what I mean? And then you build that bond, because networking is the most, because no matter how good you are, what you do, I might need you for anything. I'd rather keep that link. What people in our day and age, they don't understand, it's good having friends. Nobody's saying don't have friends. It doesn't mean I need to be all 7 days with them. For example, if I'm not free on Monday and my friend's free, I can't see him. If he's free on Tuesday and I'm not free, I can't see him. So as you get older, you realize that most of them are working and most of them are busy. And I still have to avalanche because I'm doing something completely different. Like, for example, let's say one of my friends are doing, like, let's just say post deliveries and warehousing. It'd match because you're both working similar jobs, you'd have similar banter. I don't have Monday to Friday off, I have the whole week off. My job is to just sit there and just think, what can I do next to better what I'm already doing? That's all I do all week. Since I got fired, I used to work for a call center job for the banking service in the UK. And one thing I realized working there, I left the job September last year. Since then, I haven't worked a job. The reason why is the job, it doesn't make sense to me. No matter how much you make in England, you're not taking nothing home. So what is the point of working? People work so they save money, so they earn, right now, looking at this current state, doesn't make sense to work. And I know people watching the podcast are going to say, what do I do for money? Alhamdulillah, 1. 2, as you work harder and harder on something, the Lord works in mysterious ways. The Lord will always make sure you're on the best. You get me? As like my belief says, no matter how much you do, I'll give you an example. Let's say you were selling lollipops. You'd sell a lollipop Monday, lollipop Tuesday, lollipop Wednesday. Now there's 2 types of people. One that sells a lollipop 3 days, Monday to Wednesday. Then there's the one that goes, you know what, I'll sell lollipop Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Which business is going to work? Now earlier you said I'm always on the FYP. I upload 5 videos every single day. I might take let's just say I'm going out with family today, I might take the day off. But apart from that, within 8 months, I've took 9 days off.
But is it, wow. And then, so is it return, obviously you don't have to go too much, but, I've seen what you're driving, I've seen, you're doing very well. It is paying off in the consistency in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah, you do make a ton of money. You make a lot more than you would have made at a job. But to be honest with you, I don't have a license. I try not to drive.
Yeah, you got dropped off.
Yeah. No, but sometimes, you know what it is? You just for example, I don't know, it's the money is good, but it's it comes with expense. At a normal job, you might finish at 8, but at this job, at the night, I'm writing in the book what am I doing next week.
Okay.
And then right now, I might have 150 videos. And then there's other problems where you have to deal with, you've made 10 videos, but none of them have caught the volume. So now you're thinking, that was my full energy, and now I really got it. You know what I've realized? When you make the video the second time, it doesn't hit. It doesn't. So if the mic's
because of the raw emotion that's within there.
Because when you switch that camera on, that's your best take. So with me, I don't do it second take. Hence why when me and you were having a talk earlier and you said I only do 1 take, I appreciated that because it's better because if we'd done it again and we tried to do it more it wouldn't hit. It hits the first time because it's like me and you having a conversation. It's a raw conversation. Yeah, we might have some bad bits or bits where we're just talking off the topic,
yeah.
But it's a good conversation.
But I think that's because it becomes kind of more natural. As things become more scripted, I believe you lose energy at that point, and the energy in terms of honesty that comes out of it. Yeah. So I think if you, but there are people out there who are able to execute and do a script, and it looks completely natural as well at the same time. And I'm not saying that I'm the best at all. I'm just saying, from as an opinion, from what I'm watching, sometimes you can tell whether it's too fake. And when I see your stuff, I could see it because the fact that there's no thinking space, there's no delaying gaps, the way you've put it through, it actually is really reassuring to say that how you're writing these things down, how serious you're taking it. Because an average person might pick up your content and say, he's just picked up his phone, he's just done it. But it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as that.
This is what's mad.
People don't see editing, do they?
No, people, you know what? I'm not that, like, I'm educated, but I've never been good with the computers. Hence why I locked off TikTok 3 years ago, because my editing was bottom tier. I don't, you know, with me, I can't even be, you know, with like editing, it's like I can't even be bothered to learn it. Because for me, if I'm spending 2-3 hours on editing, I'd rather spend it on my work. I know in a couple of months I can pay an editor, I can pay a computer.
So how do you do your editing now then?
I don't.
Somebody else does it for you?
No. My videos, if you go back to my videos, none of my videos have ever been edited.
That's actually true.
And
you just have the picture in the background.
And sometimes I drop a blunder and I'll just carry on the video. I'll be like, forget that.
Yeah.
Forget that. Let me carry on.
How do you then kind of keep the balance between comedy and serious issues? So like, for example, you know, we know what's happening around in world politics at the moment, and you've been quite vocal about it on your social media, but then you're also trying to still have the space in order to do your comedy. How do you bring that in, or do you try and separate it as much as you can?
To be honest with you, when it comes down to like injustice happening to anybody, for me, then money don't matter. I could be getting paid £1 million. I don't care about the platform. Two, second thing I'd like to say, TikTok as just a platform as a whole, it's a very, very controversial platform in the sense that they let you speak, they let you do this. You know, certain things, when you hurt people's feelings or you might disrespect a religion or a group, they might take that down. But you know, when it comes to like opinions, like let's say you support Manchester United, I support Man City.
I do support Man United, by the way.
No, I support Arsenal.
We're going to have to cut this bit out. Yeah, go on.
No,
You're crying at the moment after yesterday's game.
No, but you know what it is, but that's what I support. But do you know what I was? I forgot now what I was saying.
No, just about how you got the platforms of how TikTok, for example, is a controversial one.
TikTok allows you to speak what you feel like speaking. To be honest with you, a lot of my stuff has been taken down in the sense that sometimes I do take my comedy a bit too far. In the sense that we may not realize it's funny to us, but as a platform, they have to go through with like
the moderation, yeah.
So that's just what they do. But in terms of like, you know, speaking about opinion, like you got opinion, you like your favorite color is blue, mine's black, they let you have it. It's not a platform where you can't have your opinion. It's not. So like I've noticed, like even Facebook, Instagram, if you look at these platforms, if they're saying one thing, they're believing one thing. TikTok lets you have your voice. Even if you look at lives, a lot of people are speaking what they want to speak. It's not really like what they have to speak. Yeah. Sometimes if they take it too far, they might get blocked on the live, and it's a couple of strikes and then the page is over. But to be honest with you, as a general, the platform's quite good.
Because I've seen you having a few arguments with a few other with other people within there. Like, if I'm like I'm your audience, innit? Yeah. If I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't really want him involved in this stuff. I want him to just make me a clip, like just make me laugh. Yeah. And then you're going on. Then if I click on your page, you're having full blown arguments with people in there. It's like, again, like, how do you balance that? Because it doesn't make, to me as a punter, as someone consuming your product, it doesn't make sense to me.
Nah, but what it is,
is that okay? Here we go. This is the question. Yeah. Then. Is that still your street morals kicking in, rather than your comedy acting, your comedy morals?
To be honest with you, it's exactly that. You know, even though like I'm doing what I'm doing like on social media, like because of the way I've been raised or the school, like I've been going to like public schools like and stuff like that and whatever, like just, you know what I mean? I've always been in the block just chilling with the boys. So, you know, like certain things, even the way I speak, like maybe I do comedy good, but the way I speak is too ghetto.
Oh, carry on.
Certain points you have to understand that, you know, like being too ghetto doesn't get you out there. Maybe being ghetto gets you out in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Bradford, but to get to like America or to get somewhere further, you have to narrow that down. So what you have to understand is, yeah, my comedy is good and my comedy is getting out there. Do I need to go to like a different location to do better? And then what I thought is, instead of doing that, what if I trap the Asian community and the English community with one video? So halfway through my video, I'll speak English, and halfway through I'll speak my own language from back home, which is Mirpuri Pakistani. And what I've realized is a lot of my white audience that actually watch the videos, they comment, what does this mean? And what does this mean? Because they watch the video, but they don't know what that means. So what that does is, one, that intrigue, they want to know what, because it's like more cultural diversity. And two, as you're working, like, you know, you carry on doing your thing, slowly but surely, you get to a point where you need to get everyone in on it. Because if you're just attracting one sort of a consumer, you need to change what the product is. That's how I think of it. Maybe that's with, like, let's say I'm selling these glasses today. Tomorrow these glasses won't sell. I need to change the product. Tomorrow I might have to sell the bottle.
You love these glasses, innit? I need to change
You know what is the glass?
It's right there, really.
Yeah, it's right there. And yeah, it's just easy to talk about.
What's your worst experience that you've had through on kind of like social media?
To be honest with you, my worst experiences, I've had a couple, in sense that, you know, like sometimes, like, again, we spoke about how, like, the ghetto side comes out. You know what happens is you build a brand to, like, let's say wherever you're all good and everything, and then one person could say something, but the thing is, you know, like the way we've been, like, brought up, we're not taking the L, even though it's on a camera. We know it's on a camera, but we're not taking the L. We could look stupid, because when we look back at it, we think, did I really have to say that? Or did I have to disrespect them like this? But then you think in your head, could I really take the violation and last? Because then when they violate you, it's even worse, because on social media, that violation sticks harder than. So like now, like even you mentioned my videos, we might see them and we might think certain things, but in our head, we just think, you know what, at least he didn't lose any, at least he had it. You get me, held his own. In other terms, they don't think like that. They just think, you know, let them do their own thing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's you know, like I've interviewed a lot of people, and social media is one of those common themes that come through, because it's you know, they're normally trying to sell a product in terms of a music album, or they're doing a political campaign, or they're doing something along the lines. And it's always interesting to see people's relationship with social media. You can naturally tell those people who are really obsessive with it, who, you know, live on it constantly, and if they get anything negative, you can just see them crumbling down, you know, just on a negative comment. And then some people have had really bad experiences around it and have actively stayed away from it as well. Still in the public light, but won't be active on themselves. So it was interesting, like, your take on how you kind of bring the negativity as a street fight. You know, where you say, I'm not going to take an L on this. I'm trying to find out where that line is, of where you think, is there something that is there a line I wouldn't cross in terms of, like, a subject matter or an experience that will say, I think I'm done with this. Was that the case when you stopped it 3 years ago because it was the editing issue, or was there something else?
No. But back when it was Instagram lives, you couldn't join with, like, a person, well, as far as I know. I think it was half screen.
Okay, yeah. I got yeah.
And so I don't even think they had live. I think they had live, but it wasn't like 2 screen. I think that come after.
Yeah.
So whilst I was on there, I didn't really have any bad issues. The only thing was, my comedy that I was doing is more, I was making fun of myself rather than being funny. And, you know, I've been doing comedy now for 12 years. I'm 24, I've been doing it since I was 12, so I've been writing jokes and just being funny. And like I said, I used to watch...
So have you done, like, stand-up comedy, or is that the next thing that you want to do?
To be honest with you, you know, with stand-up comedy, right now, I haven't gone past the nervous factor. I think for me to do stand-up, I'd have to be, like, you know what I mean, in the zone. I can't just, like, go out on stage. I haven't got that confidence yet.
So, but you are writing stuff and that in order to do it,
Even in my spare time, sometimes I write music as well. I write poems as well. You know, like, for me, writing and just, like, focusing on what to do and doing stuff is just, it's always been I've been a fan. I feel like producing, editing, directing, and just knowing what to do. And in terms of, like, when you've been doing something for, like, let's just say, like, as long as I have, you sort of click on, and you get to a point where, okay, you're not where you need to be, but you know how to get there.
Have you had other people reach out to you, like, people in the mainstream have picked up on some of your stuff?
To be honest with you, yeah, I have had a lot of UK artists. To be honest with you, so a lot of musicians. Shout out to the musicians, but a lot of musicians are commenting on my stuff. And to be honest with you, it might not be a big deal to them, but when they comment, what happens is, people that follow them, I get forwarded to them.
Yeah.
So it's like...
It's the network thing that going back again.
So again, it's like, And to be honest with you, one thing I've realized, with the comedy world on social media, especially in this day and age, people don't really want to make videos with everybody because you don't know how good is their credibility or how good they are at what they do. And when you look on social media, people might have a long run, people might have a short run, but certain people don't understand when the run's over.
So that sounds like a challenge to someone to leave it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it.
No.
You just switched there, the eyes switched, and he's got someone in mind.
Nah, but you know what I mean, Annie?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because, like, for example, if you're working a job, you can't work it all your life. You got to understand.
So what is the plan then after this bit then? Is it you're hoping that the music, the comedy scene sort of takes over?
No, I wouldn't do music because of religion. It's just something I wouldn't do. I'm not a fan of music. I write music. It's just like I post it on my Snapchat just so people can just... And I do get a good, a positive response saying, oh, you should. But the problem is I can't do something which I have to regret later. If I do something, I do it. Like with this comedy, I might swear in the video, you could say Islamically, that's not good and stuff like that. But when you look at it from the long point of view, you don't really see it as a bad thing. You just think, what?
Yeah, because I saw something else came up on him recently. It was the Wakey Wines guy. And he was talking about how much problems he's had since being on social media. And he goes, he wants to raffle. I think he was raffling off his shop at some stage because he's just like, he didn't want anything to do with it. Yeah. I think that dark side people don't necessarily see in terms of people keep baying and wanting more content quicker. You said you do 5 videos a day. Yeah. Do you ever see that going down? Because the demand is going to get more and more the bigger you get.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't think any more would work because of the algorithm. I think it's like every couple of hours they pick up a separate video. So I think 4, even 5 is a bit pushing it. The only reason I do 5 is the one that didn't do well last night is going to do well in the morning.
Also, you re-upload the same one?
No, I just leave it. So let's say if you didn't see it in the night, it's going to come up in the morning because you ain't seen it. In terms of going lower, no. These days, even today, yesterday I was ill, sweating all night. I was thinking, but I didn't want to cancel. With me, if I've gave a time or if my mind stuck to something, I'm not leaving.
I was panicking, because I messaged you and I thought he ain't replied. I thought this is bad news.
You know what it is? Even with comedy now, not even with these videos. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're just like, you know what? Today I don't even feel funny. How am I going to make people laugh? And the moment the camera comes on, it's just like a switch in the mind. So I could just be sitting here thinking about, bills are coming, this, that. I've got to sort this out. I need to get this sorted. Thinking about everything, and then boom, the camera comes on.
What's your favourite subject matter to talk about a lot?
To be honest with you, relationships. I touch upon topics, let's say you're a husband or a boyfriend, and you don't really want to say it to your wife. I'll say it though. And then what you'll do is you'll tag your missus, or what they'll do, they'll tag the girlfriend.
Like what? Like which one?
For example, this is an example. Let's say you're eating sometimes, and you know how your missus says, I'm not hungry, but then she wants you to just give her some of your food. So why don't you just order? We're not broke. Just order your own food. You know what I mean? And terms like that, it's just a funny aspect because you wouldn't say. But I've been with, even my girlfriend. Some of my videos she finds them funny. Because, when you look at it from her point, she just thinks, he caught up on that one. So it's funny, and all women do it. One thing I've realised, if somebody does a certain thing, all men have certain traits, we do this a certain way, we're out.
Do you reckon you're building a character into your comedy?
Yeah. I reckon, because, if you look at who I am, I'm just a Dilly. When they see me on road, they say to me, be funny, innit? And I'm just thinking,
you can't.
I'm just thinking, bro, I'm eating my...
No, but say you talked about the relationships bit, you turn into an auntie or something like that. You're going to dress up as different characters for different scenarios.
To be honest with you, with dressing up, if you looked at comedy back in the day, you could get away with it. You know now, you don't want to dress up because
Yeah.
you know.
If
then
someone gets a picture of you there.
no, not even that. Like I'm not even going to be rude. If it was like, you know, when I was doing comedy before, that was a role I would have done. Like I used to do skits, but I used to be every character. But as you get older, you know now it's not the same thing. You know, back in the day, like give you an example, you know, if you look at old school American movies, Hollywood, you know, when they wore a dress, we used to think, funny. It looks funny, a man wearing a dress. You know, nowadays, they think you're sold out. You can't be caught out doing something like that, wearing a dress. It's just not funny.
That's Cat Williams' vibe.
Yeah. No, but it's true though. Because think about it, as a man, yeah, if you really deeply, you know, when I was a kid, I never understood this, but you know, as you get older, you think, don't you think as a man, if you wear a dress, it makes you feel like less of a man? A little tutu or something.
No, I get it. When I was a kid, I would have had a different opinion in it. As you get older, you just like, let everyone live the way they're going to live in it. But with comedians, people are looking for content, isn't it? And you can use content different ways. Because we said off camera, like, you could say you've got like 1,000 hours worth of content online.
Yeah.
And people could just snap, especially with AI now, take your voice and take an opinion and just construct an argument, make you sound bad. You know what I mean? So it's just like, even, I know what you're saying in terms of like how the people's opinions have shifted over time, but you just don't know where things are going to go. I think having recorded content is so risky nowadays, having digital content. Yeah. Because you just don't know what, you've seen the latest version of ChatGPT and stuff like that. It's just...
But to be honest with you, you know what?
Because that's another risk for you, especially in AI,
Yeah.
is that now people have actually created whole comedy sketches just through AI. You just don't know if this person's real.
Yeah, for example, now that you mentioned it, somebody got one of my videos and they green screened it, but the green screen was on my green screen, and I found it baffling.
What do you mean? Like they had you in the background?
No, they had me talking in their video, but it was their video, like it was their car or their like whatever, and I was just baffled.
So they jacked your face, your video, and put their stuff behind?
Yeah, and I don't know how they done it, but the video was quite good. I got to give it to whoever done it, but the editing was sick. Even in my head, I thought, how did my man do that? The green screen was bang on everything. And I thought it was mad. Because I only thought you could make a video with a green screen, or you could have a green screen behind you and then camera editing.
And so they positioned the angle where you couldn't tell.
You could not tell. It looked like I made that video for them. And I thought it was baffling. And then, like, you know, with me... Like,
did you contact them and say,
like... I just think it's like...
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it and I commented. I was like, it's funny. But what it is I just...
Did they reply to you?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
You know, there used to be days, I ain't going to lie, I used to message people, I used to be waiting for the reply. I message people, I see them typing, a couple of seconds later, unless they're busy. But you know what it is, you know, again, it comes down to something, you know, if you're a man of value, people want to talk to you. Even if you're a woman of value, people want to talk to you. If you look at like the world now, people don't want to talk to a lot of people. Just, it's bad for their brand. We might be friends behind closed doors, but you know, in front of the world, we'll never come together. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that are doing this. And you know what happens? You know, when that one friend does something bad, then you all have to hide your face. You know, that's the world we're living in. Because if you look around, what's happening with all these celebrities? They had one friend, and now they have to hide all their faces.
Yeah, because that friend's ratting them out.
That friend's got caught out. But in reality, they were all on what... Think about it, if me and you are a party, it's 90% we're doing the same thing, innit? Because we're at the same party, we wouldn't be at a party together if we did it.
That's a good point.
It's just what I'm saying, but...
Spitting out facts here.
But it's just the way that the market is. They don't, like, nobody really cares about what people are trying to do in terms of, are they trying to work or are they trying... People are just chilling. Even in this music scene, especially, to get somewhere, you have to, like, humiliate yourself, dress up like a... I don't even know. Sometimes they'll be looking like Teletubbies going out. And how can you go onto like a floor where you're meant to pick up an award dressed up like a Teletubby? I don't know. And everybody's standing saying, ooh. Or they'll come out dressed like a demon. Like, I don't understand when was looking at demons on walking past the Met Gala and looking at everybody in the crowd saying, oh, how good the outfit is. Are you blind? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is it? But everybody has their own opinion. Like, you know, when you look at like designers or you ask a fashion designer, they'd say, oh, the outfit, the thought that was behind it. Like I don't see, even with certain artwork, unless it's not a Banksy, you don't really understand what the artist was trying to get at.
But isn't art subjective, isn't it? So like even what we're doing is subjective. Some people might think this is brilliant. Some people might think it's terrible. In terms of like from art and content creator, do you see it in the South Asian and especially within the Pakistani community, content creators, is that a growing market that you see in developing?
To be honest with you, when you look at numbers of people I think Pakistan's population is 223 million. India's population is just over 1 billion. And you know what's mad about both countries? We speak. Like when we speak on the phone, you must have thought, he speaks fluent.
Yeah. No, I was like,
so we could speak, like not really Punjabi, but you understand what
I'm
saying.
I know what you're saying.
You can't really miss it. And probably 1-2 words you might think, what did he say? But apart from that, 90% you understand. The market there is a lot bigger than the UK. UK would vanish if it just went in one corner of that land. So the way you have to think about it is which market's bigger, this one or that one. Am I going to get more bigger if I do it this way, or should I just stick to who I am and be funny? Like right now, as we speak, I'm avalanching my comedy, so I'm only catering towards, like Asian people or like people from that side, because I'm going to do it in that language. Because I see Mr. Beast do it, like he makes videos in Spanish and stuff like that. So it helps out. If I can make a video that's only catered to a specific amount of people and the population is like 1.3 billion.
But are you seeing a lot of people who are content creators coming from there? Or is it like there's only a few people kind of... I'm not saying that you're at the top of the tree. I'm just saying you're on the way. But is there people who are already up there that you're able to kind of like follow, or they're like role models in their business style? Because let's say in this world, there isn't that many brand podcasters. There are some, and they are doing very well. But even comedians, you got like Paul Chowdhury, Sukh Ojla, Tommy Sandhu, I think Noreen Khan's doing it. But there isn't too many, you know what I mean? But if you're in that world of like kind of TikTok creators and you've seen the new pathway of getting there, is there somebody like Gus Khan, like for example, the way he's kind of gone into filming and into TV work? Is there someone like, is there a feeling, that's what I'm probably trying to get at, that within the Pakistani community that it's emerging more?
To be honest with you, one, you could perceive it as that in the sense that, as I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of Paul Chowdhury videos. I used to be like, I used to see him on Facebook. So, as a kid, I wouldn't necessarily say that I look at him as like a sense like a role model. But as you see somebody's like videos and you like just think, what, it must be nice. So it's more like motivation than like I thought.
You're struggling here now with it.
That's what I'm thinking.
I know he was ill yesterday, so I'm just giving him. I'm buying him time. I actually met Paul Chowdhury last year. I said like, would you come on? And he was like, yeah. I'm still waiting for him.
Give me tissue, my eyes are watering.
He's getting really upset with this Paul Chowdhury. Don't worry about it. He's a good guy, man. You might want to clip this. This is the next viral one. Yeah, coming out. So
man cries at Paul Chowdhury.
Yeah. No, I've seen him. With his type of comedy, he's brutal. He's like, he'll come out and he'll absolutely annihilate the front row. In terms of like whatever they do.
Do you think Paul Chowdhury is like a Indian auntie but in a British version? Do you ever feel like that? Like when I used to watch his comedy, I used to think it's funny, but he sounds like my auntie, but in a British way.
I think with Paul Chowdhury, what I've noticed with him is his delivery and timing is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily some of the content that he says in there, because like he'll have this, a few of the same kind of punchlines within it, but the build up and his delivery is mad. But I think his biggest talent, and I ain't nothing from there. I saw him. I've seen it live a couple of times. How quick-witted he is. How quick-witted he is. So it might not be something that he's got, in his set, and somebody is thrown a heckle or somebody's mentioned something else. The way he connects and reacts to that so fast, I think that's his unique skill, I think. Because there is a risk with Indian comedy, or Punjabi comedy, that it goes down the too much of the goodness gracious me road. You know what I mean? Like how it used to be that way. I think that's kind of done its time and place now. So the Bandwagon podcast, this I ask a question to all my guests at the end of the podcast, which is there a bandwagon that you'd like to jump on? Is there a bandwagon that you want to jump off? Or is there anything that you want to get off your chest? Then this is a space to do so.
Yeah, there's plenty of bandwagons on social media. I need everybody to get off them bandwagons. If you focus on my videos, I mention a lot of these bandwagons that you need to get off. There's a lot of good ones. 99% of the time, they're all bad. 1% you'll get the good. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's a movement where they look to help people and you're trying to provide housing or lifestyle. My voice is gone.
No, it's all right.
People that are going to watch this last part, they're going to think he's kind of emotional.
Yeah, he is. He's very emotional. he's fallen for it now.
You mentioned the legend, Paul Chowdhury.
Yeah. He's fallen for it, man. He's struggling.
Yeah. But most of these bandwagons, they need to get shut down because in 2024, people have no integrity. That's the truth. And it comes to a point where people can't be bothered and they don't have no morals, and it gets to a point where everybody's doing their own thing. And yeah, to be honest with you, I think most of these bandwagons need to get closed. The good ones are this podcast and a couple of others coming back from the half-dead stage. I think it's the dust. My allergies are playing up. I sound like a girl at the end of the podcast, but the voice changed halfway through. And yeah, to be honest with you, that's really all I have to say. But to leave everybody with a good note is just work hard. Whatever you want to do, you want to sell pakode. There's people back home in India and Pakistan, they've become millionaires of selling pakode. And then there's Steve Jobs, who's made a computer or made a phone. Everybody has their own avenue. I can't undercut you, you can't undercut me. I'm going to do what I'm doing, you're going to do what you're doing. My fan base and your fan base can be similar. Our content has to be different. So let's say me and you talking about, let's just say this phone. I'll say this phone is a great phone. You'll probably say something else. You say it's a white phone, it's an iPhone. So we see the same thing, but we see different. We think different. We think, oh wait, you know what I mean? So I think each and every one of us can do the same thing. We all have a different view and a different aspect of life anyways, so it wouldn't make a difference.
Dilly, on those wise words, we're going to bring it to a closure. Thank you for coming today. I know you're not 100%, and I really wish you all the success. I know you're going to smash it and go into the stand-up stuff, hopefully, and we'll always be here to kind of support you on your journey. Thank you.
100%, my brother. It's been a pleasure being on your podcast.
Cheers,
Hope you
man.
have a beautiful day.
Cheers.
Take
All the
care.
best. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Those